All right, let's talk about one of the most fundamental parts of digital safety, cybersecurity scanning. It's funny. Before you buy a house, you'd never dream of doing it without a full inspection, right? You want to know about any leaky pipes or cracks in the foundation. Well, your digital world needs that exact same kind of checkup.
Think about this for a second. Right now, are you 100% sure every single door and window in your house is locked? Probably. You have a routine, a way you check things before you leave. It's just second nature for keeping yourself safe.
Well, it's the exact same idea in the digital world. Your computer networks, your websites, your whole online life, it all has digital doors and windows. The real question is, do you have any idea which ones might be unlocked? And maybe more importantly, do you know who might be rattling the doorknobs?
So that's where this whole idea of a digital building inspection comes in. We need a proper, systematic way to check all those doors and windows. And that process, that is what we call cybersecurity scanning.
So, what is it really? At its core, scanning is all about actively poking and prodding our digital systems to find the weak spots. See, this isn't about just sitting back and waiting for an alarm to go off. This is about going on the hunt and looking for trouble before a real attacker gets the chance to.
Now this is really interesting because it shows you exactly where scanning fits into a hacker's playbook. First, they do reconnaissance. They gather info on their target. Step 2, they scan to find an opening. It's only after they find something that they can try to exploit it and get in. So when we run our own scans, we're basically beating them to the punch. We're finding those openings first.
A good home inspector doesn't just show up with a flashlight. They've got a whole toolkit for checking electricity, plumbing, the foundation, and it's the same thing here. A cybersecurity pro has a whole bunch of different types of scans, each one designed for a specific job. First up, you've got network scanning. Think of this as the 30,000-foot view. It's like creating a master blueprint of your entire digital property. It tells you what's even there, what computers, what servers, what printers are connected to your network. Because let's be honest, you can't protect something if you don't even know it exists.
Okay, so if the network scan gives us the blueprint, the port scan is where we go to every single building on that map and start checking all the doors and windows. These are called ports in the digital world. The scan tells us, is this port wide open and listening? Is it locked down tight? Or is it filtered, meaning there's something like a firewall standing guard?
Now we get to the really good stuff, vulnerability scanning. This is where we're not just checking if a door is open, we're checking if the lock on it is a model that's known to be easy to pick. The scanner has a huge database of known security flaws, and it checks your systems against that list to see if you have any of these known issues.
And we can get even more specialized. Application scans dig into things like the contact form on your website, testing it for common attacks that could trick it into giving up data. Then you have wireless scanning, which is basically sniffing the air for all the Wi-Fi networks around to make sure yours is secure and there isn't an easy way in for an attacker. And all this work is done using some seriously powerful real-world tools. You've got things like Nmap, which is like the Swiss Army knife for network mapping and port scanning. Then you have heavy hitters like Nessus, which is an industry standard for finding vulnerabilities. These are the workhorses that security professionals rely on every single day.
So after all this probing and poking and testing, what do you get? You get a report. And just like with that house inspection, the report is where the real gold is. It's the whole reason you do this. It tells you exactly what's wrong and why you need to care.
So what's actually in this report? Well, for starters, it clearly identifies your attack surface. That's just a fancy term for all the possible entry points an attacker could use. It pinpoints those specific vulnerabilities we talked about. It confirms your network map is what you think it is, and it gives you a straightforward grade on your overall security health.
And honestly, it all boils down to this slide. You've got a choice. There are two timelines. The proactive one, on the left, you use scanning to find your weaknesses first. You fix them before they're a problem, you lower your risk, and you stay compliant. Or there's the reactive path on the right. You wait, you suffer a breach, and then you're scrambling to contain the damage, paying for recovery, and dealing with a massive hit to your reputation. The choice is pretty clear, isn't it?
But, and this is a really important but, just like any inspection, you have to read the fine print. Scanning is an incredibly powerful tool, but it is not a magic bullet. You absolutely have to understand what it can and can't do. And here it is, the most critical thing to remember. Scanners can sometimes give you false positives. Think of it like a smoke alarm that goes off when you're just making toast. It thinks it found a problem, but it might not be a real fire. That's why every result needs validation. A human expert has to look at the report and confirm, yep, that's a real problem and we need to fix it.
Let's be crystal clear about this. The scan is the diagnosis, it's not the cure. It's the essential first step that tells you where all the potential problems are. The real work, the hard work, begins after the scan. That's called remediation planning, building the strategy for how you're actually going to fix everything.
And that leaves us with the final and really the only question that matters. The inspection is done, the report is in your hands, showing you every single crack in your digital foundation. So what are you going to do about it? What's your plan to fix them?